The words sliced through the air like a blade. "Emma, sit at the far end." My mother's voice carried the weight of a command, cold and final, as if I were an afterthought in her perfectly curated world. I didn't flinch, though my chest tightened. With a quiet nod, I walked past the long mahogany dinner table, its surface gleaming under the flicker of lit candles, the clink of crystal glasses, and the glint of polished silverware. I headed straight for the least desirable seat, the one by the kitchen door, where the clatter of pots and the hum of the dishwasher would be my companions. I hadn't expected a warm welcome. It was my brother Tyler's birthday, and in this family, I was the shadow, not the light. "You're lucky we invited you at all," my sister-in-law Madison hissed as I passed her, her voice low but venomous. "Don't make a scene this time." I hadn't even spoken yet. Her words stung, like an accusation I was already guilty of. The room was a portrait of wealth, everyone in tailored suits and dresses, seated beneath a chandelier that sparkled like a crown. Tyler, the golden boy, lounged at the head of the table, his smug grin as polished as the designer watch he flaunted. With every gesture, Madison raised her glass. To Tyler, the most successful man in the family. Laughter erupted, a chorus of approval, but I sat silent, staring at my water glass. My reflection trembled faintly in its surface. A ghost in a second-hand navy blue dress, my hands rough from double shifts at the warehouse and late-night cleaning gigs. I didn't belong here, and they made sure I felt it every second. Then came the sound that shifted the rooms. Gravity. Grandpa Howard clearing his throat. The laughter died. Even Madison froze, her overpriced wine hovering at her lips. At 83, Grandpa wasn't just respected, he was a force. His eyes sharp as razors, his cane a gavel that delivered verdicts no one dared challenge. He turned his head slowly, his gaze locking onto me from across the table. "Emma," he said, his voice calm but resonant, cutting through the room like a bell. "Is the $5,000 I send you every month enough?" My stomach plummeted. The air turned to stone, my fork hung in midair. What money? Silence, raw, unfiltered silence swallowed the room. My mother's fork clinked against her plate and clattered to the floor. Tyler's smug mask cracked, his brows knitting, his jaw tightening. Grandpa's eyes narrowed, as if he'd just confirmed a truth he'd long suspected. With deliberate force, he slammed his cane on the marble floor. Bang, the chandelier swayed, faintly above us. That's what I thought. All eyes turned to my mother, her face drained of color. Grandpa's voice grew colder. "I've been wiring $5,000 to your account, Emma, every month for over 2 years. Religiously, on the first I thought it was helping you." My voice cracked, barely a whisper. "I never saw that money." The silence turned lethal, a blade, poised to strike. Grandpa's gaze shifted to my father. "Richard, Marilyn, care to explain?" My father's face flushed crimson. We used it to help with Tyler's startup. You said you wanted to help the family." "We thought you thought," Grandpa cut in, his voice a low growl, "you'd steal from your own daughter, use my money, and lie about it." My mother's hands trembled. "Howard, we were going to tell you. We meant to." Grandpa's laugh was dry, bitter, like ash scattering across the room. "Meant to." He pointed his cane at them. "You told me for years Emma didn't need help, that she was too proud to accept my money, that she refused charity, and all that time you were funneling it into Tyler's account." Tyler shot to his feet. "Grandpa, I didn't know. I swear, sit down." Grandpa roared. Tyler sank back into his chair, his bravado crumbling. My eyes burned, but I refused to let tears fall. Not here, not now. Slowly I stood, my voice shaking but steady. "You told Grandpa I didn't want his money." I looked at my mother. "You told him I didn't need help." "How many times did I cry to you, begging for help with rent? How many times did I tell you I was eating ramen for 3 weeks straight?" She looked away, her silence louder than any confession. My father tried again. "Emma, we did it for the family, for Tyler." "For Tyler," I repeated, my nails digging into my palms. Always for Tyler. I worked myself to the bone. Night shifts, cleaning toilets, eating from gas station shelves, and you were pocketing $5,000 every month while you watched me drown. I turned to Grandpa. The worst part. I still came tonight, hoping just maybe I'd be treated like a daughter, a sister. Grandpa's face was stone, his eyes blazing with quiet fury. He addressed the table. "If anyone here thinks what they did was acceptable, you're as guilty as they are." Then, from his coat pocket, he pulled a folded envelope and held it out to me. "Emma, take this." I hesitated, then crossed the room to take it. Inside was a bank transfer confirmation and account in my name. A new one. "I've just wired you $120,000, Grandpa said. "That's all the money they stole, and then some." Gasps rippled through the room. "And tomorrow," he continued, his gaze slicing toward my parents, "I'll be speaking to my lawyer. You're both cut out of my estate. Completely, Tyler included." Tyler leaped up. "Grandpa, no, you can't." "I can, and I just did." Grandpa's voice was final. He looked at me. "Emma, would you like to switch seats? Or better yet, how about you sit at the head of the table?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. For the first time in this family's twisted history, I wasn't the outcast. I was the reckoning. I didn't take the head of the table. Instead, I grabbed my purse and walked out, leaving the untouched filet mignon behind. I didn't need their throne. I needed air. Outside, the cold night stung my face. I stood on the porch, staring at the dark trees swaying under a starless sky, my fingers trembling with a cocktail of rage, grief, and shock. The door creaked behind me and Grandpa's voice broke the silence. "You handled that better than I expected." I turned slightly. Better than I expected of myself. He stepped beside me, slower now, the fury no longer propping him up. "They've always underestimated you, Emma, even as a little girl." I said nothing, then asked, "Why didn't you ever call me? Ask if I was okay?" His eyes, heavy with guilt, met mine. "Because I believed them." "I'm sorry for that, truly." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. "I don't need their pity anymore." "No," he agreed. "You need justice, and you'll get it." 2 days later, his lawyer called. Grandpa had rewritten his will. The envelope was just the start. Tyler, my parents, they were gone from it. The lake, the business shares, the trust fund, all transferred to me. The calls started pouring in. My mother left voicemails, her voice thick with tears. "Emma, please. We didn't know it would go this far. Can we talk?" My father's tone was sharper. "You're tearing this family apart, over money." Tyler sent one text. "You'll regret this. Enjoy being alone." But I wasn't alone. As the truth spread, the family's facade crumbled. Aunt Caroline admitted she'd wondered why I always looked exhausted. Uncle Drew confessed they'd been told I had mental issues, too unstable for money. They'd lied to everyone, painting me as the problem to justify their theft. And I'd let them until now. Grandpa set me up with an office downtown. Emma Howard Financial Solutions. It was small, 2 rooms, a front desk, but it was mine. I arrived daily before dawn, learning the ropes of finance, taking courses, meeting clients. I didn't use Grandpa's name publicly. I wanted to build something undeniable, not a handout. The backlash came fast. Madison posted cryptic Instagram stories, sipping wine and typing. "Some people don't deserve second chances. Entitlement is ugly." Tyler went on a podcast, smirking. "When you give money to the wrong people, they think they earned it." Sad, really. I didn't respond. I poured my energy into my work. Grandpa, meanwhile, told everyone, friends, investors, partners, the truth. Tyler's startup lost 3 major clients in weeks. My father was quietly removed from a foundation board he'd chaired for years. My mother stopped appearing at the country club. Months later, Tyler showed up at my apartment, disheveled, desperate. "I messed up," he said, hands in his pockets. I didn't know about the money. I didn't know they lied to Grandpa. Then, why mock me every year for not having a real job? I asked, why call me a bird in trash? He had no answer. "Emma, please tell Grandpa to undo the will, split it. I'm your brother." I met his gaze. "No, you're the man who laughed while I struggled." I shut the door. That night, alone at my kitchen table, tears threatened, not from sadness, but from power. The next day, a dusty box appeared outside my office. Inside were family albums, photos of me and Tyler at the park, me helping Mom in the kitchen, my hand clutching Grandpa's at 5. A letter from him lay at the bottom. "Emma, these are yours. They tried to erase your place in this family, but I never forgot who you were. Frame the ones you love. Your roots run deeper than their lies." I cried, not for the past, but because someone finally saw me. Soon after, I spoke at a local women's business conference recommended by one of Grandpa's friends. In a navy blazer, hair pinned neatly, I faced 200 women and told my story raw, unfiltered. I wasn't born poor. I was made poor by a family that decided I wasn't worth investing in. Gasps filled the room. When I begged for help, they called me dramatic, lazy, useless Saul, while pocketing checks with my name on them. The applause shook the walls. Backstage, a woman in tears approached. My daughter went through the same thing. Your story changed everything. I took her hands. Tell your daughter she's not broken. They are. Walking home, I passed the restaurant where Tyler and Madison once celebrated their anniversary. Their faces framed in the window. The frame was gone, replaced by a for lease sign. Another business lost. My phone buzzed. Grandpa, they finally realize who the real legacy is. Kid, proud of you. 3 months later, I stood outside my childhood home not to visit, but to buy it. My parents, desperate after Grandpa cut them off, had quietly listed it. Grandpa ensured I saw the listing. I don't want to live there, I told him. He nodded. Then own it anyway. I signed the papers. Full cash, no negotiation. The realtor, uneasy, said, your parents have to be out by Friday. Give them until Monday, I replied. I never stepped inside. Those walls held enough of my tears. My office grew. I hired 2 women, both survivors of family betrayals, and we became more than a business, a sanctuary for rebuilding. Then came a letter from my mother, handwritten, raw. Emma, I know you have every reason to hate me. I failed you. I let pride blind me. I convinced myself you didn't need help so I could sleep at night. You didn't deserve this. I won't ask for forgiveness, but I hope you find peace, Mom. It wasn't victory, it was release. I folded it, placed it with Grandpa's letter and the photos, and closed the drawer. At a quiet gathering at Grandpa's, he pulled me aside by the fireplace. When I learned they stole from you, I blamed myself most. Why? I gave them the rope to hang you with. I smiled. You also gave me the tools to cut it. He handed me a worn leather ledger, his first business's records. You built everything from this, I said, flipping through faded pages. And now you'll build more, he replied. His embrace felt like home safe, steady, true. A year later, I stood backstage at a National Women's Finance Conference, facing 2,000 people. Cameras flashed, reporters scribbled, but I wasn't afraid. I was no longer the girl at the far end. I was Emma Howard, the woman who turned betrayal into a legacy. In the front row, Grandpa gave me a nod. That dinner meant to break me. It forged my rise.